Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Patience. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful draped cup under bust corset dress with a collar and a basque waist. Before we get started, kindly click the subscribe button. If you have done that, let's get into it. I'll be using this plain fabric for this tutorial. It is not stretchy and it is 4 yards, and I'll be drafting on this pattern paper. I've gone ahead to mark the shoulder line. I'll be adding sewing allowances to this pattern. Now I'll mark my shoulder width, half of my shoulder width, which is 8 inches plus ½ inch for sewing allowance, that is 8.5 inches. On the 8.5 inches, I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant, and I'll mark the neck width, which is 4 inches. Now I'll slant the shoulder. After doing that, I'll mark the chest line from this 1 inch, that is 8 inches. In order to get a straight line, I'll mark from the shoulder, which is 9 inches. I'll bring down the shoulder measurements on the chest line and I'll connect it this way. After doing that, I'll mark quarter of my bust circumference plus 1 inch for side seam, that is 11.5 inches. And then I'll mark the midpoint of this line, which is 4 inches, and I'll go in by 3/4 inch for the front armhole, and I'll create the arm side. I'll mark my shoulder to bust point, which is 10.5 inches. And I'll mark my shoulder to under bust, which is 14 inches. And shoulder to waist, which is 17 inches. And shoulder to hip, which is 26 inches. I'll go ahead and extend the lines. So this is the chest line, bust line, under bust line, waist line, and hip line. I'll be creating the V shape on the waist, that is the basque waist. So on the picture of this dress I am making, the basque waist started from the lower waist, as you can see. What I'm going to do is from the waistline, that is the shoulder to waist, so my shoulder to waist is 17 inches. I'll go down by 3 inches, so just go down by 3 inches from your shoulder to waist. Now what I have here is 20 inches, so this is like the lower waistline. So to create the V, as you can see, the V stops at the shoulder to the pelvic. It did not get to the hip. Now from the hip, I'll come up by 2 inches. So from this line to the lower waistline is 4 inches, as you can see. So the front piece is going to be longer than the back piece with 4 inches. So I'll call this the lower waistline and this the V. So I'll mark the circumference measurement. I'll bring down this 11.5 inches to the bust line. I'll leave the under bust line for now, and I'll come down to the waist line, mark quarter of my waist circumference plus 1 inch for side seam. So measure round the lower waist to get the circumference. You want to place your measuring tape on 3 inches below your waist, round waist, and get that measurement. Mine is 38 inches, so I'll mark quarter of the 38 inches and 1 inch for side seam and connect the points this way. To create the basque waist, I'll connect this point to this point. So that is it for the basque waist. Now I'll mark the depth of the neck. I'll be using 10 inches. From the 10 inches, I'll go in by 3/4 inch and make a line this way and connect it to the neck width. Now to create the cup on the under bust line, I will mark my bust span measurement, which is 8 inches, divided by 2, that is 4 inches, plus ½ inch, that is 4.5 inches. Now I'll use a curved ruler to connect from the 3/4 inch to the bust pan measurement, and on the under bust line I'll go up by 3/4 inch this way and connect the bust pan measurement to the 3/4 inch, as you can see. So that is it. I'll go ahead and cut it out. I'll label this as the cup. So that is it for the front piece. I am going to keep this part aside. I'll be doing the splash and spread method on the cup. So what I'll do is I'll mark the midpoint of the shoulder this way, and I'll make a straight line. After doing that, I'll cut through the lines. I'll also be adding about 1 inch on the shoulder using another pattern paper. So I'll be using about 5 inches. Before I do that, I've gone ahead to cut out the back piece. So I've slanted the shoulder, created the arm side. So I used 1/2 inch for the back armhole. So for the neck, I'll be using 2 inches neck depth and also 4 inches for the neck width. So I've marked my shoulder to bust chest line, and I don't need the bust line on the back piece. So I've marked my waist, which is 17 inches, and the lower waist, which is 20 inches. Remember, I used 20 inches on the front piece for the lower waist. So I'm also using 20 inches for the back piece for the lower waist. So I'll go ahead and mark all the circumference measurements plus 1 inch for side seam. Now, the back piece of this dress doesn't have a zipper. It has a smoked effect, as you can see on the back piece. So I'll be using an elastic thread to do this. So I am going to be taking out 5 inches from the lower waist for the band. So the band is going to be with the elastic thread. So I'll mark 5 inches this way and cut it out. But in case you want to add a zipper to the back piece, just leave 1 inch for zipper allowance. So this back piece doesn't have the basque waist, it is just the elastic thread. So I'll go ahead and cut this out. Now the back piece is going to be 15 inches. I'll be adding 1/2 inch on the fabric for joining allowance. So this is going to be the band, which I'll be using the elastic thread for. So it doesn't really matter. The elastic thread is going to give the back waist its shape. So that is it for the back piece. I've gone ahead to cut out the cup using another pattern. I've spread it and used my sellotape to secure it. So I'll join it this way and cut it out. As you can see, I spread it with 5 inches, and on the shoulder I used 1 inch. So instead of 4.5 inches, I have 5.5 inches. So I'll gather the shoulder with the 1 inch and also this cup area. I'll go ahead and cut this out on my fabric. Remember, I've added side seam already, but I'll be adding 1/2 inch on this part for hemming allowance and also on this part for joining allowance. I've done that and I cut out 2 pieces, as you can see, for both the fabric and the lining. As you can see, I added 1/2 inch on the neckline and also the cup and also on the shoulder. As you can see, I did not add side seam because I've done that on the pattern. I've also gone ahead to cut out the lower part of the front piece. As you can see, I added 1/2 inch round and also on this part because I'll be using it to join the gathers. So this is how it is going to come out. I'll be making gathers on the cup to keep it in place. I've gone ahead to cut out the back piece on my fabric. As you can see, I added 1/2 inch on the shoulder and also on the neckline. In order to get enough fabric, I added 2 inches on the folded edge and also 2 inches on the opened edge. This way I connected it from the armhole down to the 2 inches. This is just to get enough fabric for my gathers. So I am going to be making gathers on the lower part this way, and after doing that I will get my exact half of my waist circumference. So guys, in order for this video not to be too long, on the next video we'll learn how to cut and attach the collar to the dress neatly this way, as you can see, and gather the back piece using the elastic thread for it to come out neatly this way. And we'll also learn how to attach the gathers on the front piece. So we have come to the end of this video. If this was helpful, kindly give this video a thumbs up and also click on the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell to be updated when I upload a new video. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.